Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 28th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see. Today has been pretty light, pretty easy. Just did some grocery shopping, so, it was nice. No hassle. Let's see here. Food corner yesterday was real fun. So we have a lot of food to get into. So let's kind of run through it, I guess, real quick. I went out for brunch and went to this restaurant called Another Broken Cafe. Um, it was really yummy. Let's see. They have all kinds of stuff. It's very akin to First Watch if you've heard me describe that kind of scenario or just any kind of brunch spot. But the food was really good, like really high quality. Let's see here. What did I order? I had an order of buttermilk pancakes. And I gotta say, I know I'm like, kind of coming in hot on the praise, but the pancakes, and part of the reason I always kind of come to a new place and get these kind of things is like it was me a good indicator. But overall, they were just fine. They weren't like crazy. They weren't wild, but they were nice griddle cakes. They overall were good quality. So, hey, at the end of the day, I'm already happy with my purchase if the pancakes are solid. The bacon was good. I got an order of bacon with that. They had this chicken andouille sausage, which was phenomenal. Love that. I got an order of what they called city grits, and I would say that was probably my least favorite thing that I got from them. But essentially, they were grits, and they had like all kinds of like bacon on top and like maybe chives or whatever. I'm not the biggest grits guy, so me giving it like a bit of a mid rating is not, that's actually probably pretty good. But they were fine. They were all right. And then let's see here. I'd say the star thing though, and if I ever do wind up going back again, they had these beignets. Beignets are so good. They came with this like kind of sauce. I think the waiter said it was like this orange marmalade or honey thing. I don't know. That was phenomenal. And normally I don't like fruits with my food like that, like with my breakfast or my with I don't like with my breakfast. I don't like with my dinner. Not usually. I'm not a big orange chicken guy. I'm not a big lemon blueberry Danish guy. But if it's good, if they really whip with the wrist, then I become converted for a little bit. But yeah, overall that meal was amazing. Loved it. Let's see here. Then let's fast forward to dinner. Dinner, I had Five Guys. I was just really feeling a burger that I didn't have to cook, and I knew was going to be really good, and it did not disappoint. So I had a bacon cheeseburger and a order of Cajun fries, and it was just phenomenal. It was great. It was nice just to bust down a burger and fries by myself. So yeah, it was a nice way to close out the night. I will say though, I was like so full of food and I hadn't like poached myself like that in a while that I definitely like suffered throughout the night. But yeah, I'd do it again. I would do it again. All right. So yeah, that catches you up on my Saturday, my weekend so far. Pretty much just closing out, real chill like. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and then we'll go ahead and get into some news. Ooh, ooh. Okay. From Complex, Iraqi TikTok influencer Fahad shot and killed outside her home. Fahad, an Iraqi TikToker and social media influencer, was tragically shot and killed on Friday, April 26th. Fahad, born Gufran Sawadi, was fatally shot outside of her home in Baghdad, Iraq, according to the Washington Post. The outlet did not specify how old Fahad was at the time of her death. A lone assailant on a motorbike reportedly approached Fahad while she sat inside a black SUV and fired shots inside the car before running off. According to the BBC, the attacker may have been pretending to make a food delivery, per an Iraqi security source. Another woman was reportedly injured during the attack. Iraq's Interior Ministry said a team has been put together to investigate the murder. An arrest has not been made. Fahad's nearly 500,000 followers tuned in to watch videos of herself dancing to Iraqi music and documenting her daily life. Last year, the Iraqi government launched a campaign targeting social media content deemed offensive to morals and tradition, resulting in Fahad and 5 others facing legal repercussions for offending morals and public decency. The BBC also reports that the feud between Fahad and another influencer, Daila Naeem, emerged recently. Naeem, also known as Iraqi Barbie, has been allegedly threatening to expose a relationship between Fahad and senior Iraqi officials. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of, obviously this is, very upsetting, distressing news to, find out about, but also, I'm very curious to, hopefully we can, get some answers. Hopefully something like that comes to light as, what was the motive, like who was behind this. I'm sure there's, a lot of leads, as, just with maybe it might be like some influencer thing. Maybe it might be like a nation state thing. I don't know, and that's just me with my conspiratory hat on, just kind of warming up here. I'm not sure, but obviously, condolences to the family, just to, and that's a devastating thing, to find out like this person you follow, you care about, you have like maybe this like weird parasocial thing in your head, and the next thing you know, they're just dead, like especially like that, like it can just be such a sad anticlimactic end to someone's life that like looks like it's kind of like skyrocketing. Let me just close out here with a little bit of a flashback from the article. Fahad's killing also echoes the 2018 murder of Tara Ferris, a model and Instagram creator with over 2 million followers, who was killed in broad daylight in her car in Baghdad. Excuse me. So moving on from Iraq to Iran, CNN, Iranian rapper Tumaj Salehi, hopefully I'm saying that correctly or close to, sentenced to death for protesting. Dissident rapper Tumaj Salehi has been given a death sentence for his involvement in the widespread protests that swept Iran in 2022, according to his lawyer. An order for the execution of Tumaj Salehi has been issued, Saheli's lawyer Amir Rayyan tweeted Wednesday. The rapper has been detained, held in solitary confinement, and was allegedly tortured following his arrest. In an unprecedented move, a court in Isfahan reversed the higher Supreme Court's decision in Salehi's case on Tuesday, upholding the original verdict of corruption on earth and issued the maximum punishment, according to Iranian pro-reform outlets Sarj and Integab, and I cannot pronounce this, Intehab. Sure, sorry. State media said Saheli's sentence is subject for reduction by a pardoning committee if he appeals again. So hopefully that's potentially a silver lining in this. Even though, I mean, getting any kind of extended jail time for something like this is obviously crazy. Salehi, 32, who has been critical of the Iranian regime and outspoken against the government in rap lyrics and on social media, was briefly released from prison last year before police violently rearrested him and sent him to prison in Esfahan, witnesses said at the time. He was rearrested after appearing in a video where he revealed that he was tortured and placed in solitary confinement for 252 days following his arrest in October of 2022. UN experts said in a statement published by the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, or the OHCHRH. Also adding another artist, Kurdish Iranian rapper Saman Yassin, who was also arrested at the height of 2022's protests in Iran, was transferred to a psychiatric hospital 2 times in less than a year, according to pro-reform news outlet Iranwire. A court in Tehran sentenced Yassin to 5 years in prison, according to group focused on Kurdish human rights, Hinga. Demonstrators swept the country after the death of 22-year-old Masa Amini, which occurred under suspicious circumstances while in police custody. A brutal crackdown on the protest by Iranian authorities targeted the weeks-long protest. Obviously this is another unfortunate situation that, is taking place when a person is like saying, hey, I'm going to use my platform to speak out and I am going to get locked up for it. And then, they ran him through the fucking wire and, spit him out. And it's like, okay. But essentially just for telling the truth, just for saying, hey, hopping up and telling people like, hey, this happened to me. For that, they essentially ran him through it all over again. And are like, oh, we're actually going to kill you for this. So hopefully that gets at least commuted down. Obviously this whole situation is very unfortunate. And it doesn't matter where you are. You know what I mean? What country, whatever, you should have the right to protest. You know what I mean? So obviously, I want to take the time to talk about someone who, spoke out and is unfortunately being punished far too harshly, for, doing something that is a human right, in my mind. So, yeah. But yeah, let's continue. Not that the news is going to get any better. Let's see here. From, what is this? 13 on Your Side. Looks like an ABC kind of side joint situation here. Video of Samuel Sterling hit, killed by unmarked Michigan State Police vehicle released. Security video that captures the moment a man was hit by an unmarked Michigan State Police vehicle was released at a press conference held by family attorneys. The man later died. Samuel Sterling, 25 years old, was putting air in his tires near 52nd Street and Eastern Avenue in Kentwood on the morning of April 17th when he was found by multiple agencies looking for him on felony warrants, troopers said. When officers approached Sterling, he ran, police said. It led to a chase. The vehicle that was driving parallel to Sterling then struck him, police said. He died later that day at the hospital. The cause of death was ruled accidental, county officials confirmed Friday. This does not mean charges can't be filed in the case, Kent County's assistant attorney administrator Lori Latham said. Sterling leaves behind 3 children. This is a story that really upsets me because I haven't heard too much about it. I'm fortunate enough that I have friends that, that live in this area, and they were talking about it, and I was just like, okay, then I wanted to kind of dig in and find, more details. It's a shame that this situation is more or less being portrayed as like an accident, like it's an oops-a-fucking-daisy. But yet again, I've talked about this before, and it's a cruel kind of irony that we're coming up on an anniversary of a person who died in another avoidable death with police, Patrick Loya, where, in the same area where it's like, look, I get it. You want to get your man. This is a perpetrator. This is a quote-unquote bad guy, a criminal offender. But, like, you do not need to take it to this point where you're endangering, 1, the population at large, and then 2, the actual criminal. Yes, because that is also a person you are supposed to be protecting and serving. I know that that's something that kind of gets thrown out of the window because this is a perpetrator, this is a bad guy, but guess what? This is a human being, and you have to treat him as such. Like, you don't track him down with your car and then literally run him down. I'm sorry, but that's pretty much what the fuck happens here. How do you accidentally run parallel and then all of a sudden you're not fucking running parallel anymore? I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense. And then, not to mention, after the fact, this person's moaning, asking for help, and you're just like calling it in, da-da-da-da, business as usual. This is a human being, and that just gets thrown out the window because this is our perpetrator. This is the suspect. This is a person that we are pursuing. And I'm sorry. It's just, once again, I will never forget. I will never forget that there are people amongst my own circle that go, "Oh, well, that's a bad guy." Like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Isaiah? Like, they just like as if they have it coming. So, that is why I'm always compelled to talk about this. I don't care if it's a story that's in my backyard or, somewhere far away. It just doesn't matter. It's very important to me to, get these stories out. And it doesn't matter whether it's someone you feel is worthy of being a victim or not. I'm sorry. Like, we are all human goddamn beings at the end of the day. And we should be treated as such. So, it is a shame that this has happened. So I just wanted to put it on the radar, at least, for my podcast. I know, my platform is not too big, but, hey, at least now you know. I wanted to close out, though, on a local story, an Ohio woman story. I know I talk about Ohio man a lot, but, sometimes we got to talk about the Ohio ladies and their rights and their wrongs. And their wrongs. I do support them, but they are wrongs. All right, let me go ahead and do my last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. All right. Oh, that's yummy. Okay, from Inside Edition. Ugh. After losing all her money to an online scam, 74-year-old Ohio woman robs bank at gunpoint, police say. And Ann Mayers, 74, had been scammed out of money and also owed her sister $5,000 and a friend $65,000 after the two women supplied her with loans, according to police. In need of cash, she decided to rob a bank at gunpoint, police said. Ann Mayer, 74, allegedly told investigators with the Fairfield Township Police Department that she was the person who walked into the R Group Financial Credit Union Bank and demanded a teller turn over some of the bank's cash while brandishing a gun, according to a copy of the complaint obtained by Inside Edition Digital. Body cam footage taken at the time of her arrest shows that it only took Mayers a few seconds to allegedly confess, as she immediately tells the arresting officers, "I did whatever you're here for." The officers then ask Mayers to be more specific, at which time the footage shows her saying, "the robbery." So yeah, I mean, this was like a very short and sweet situation. Police have now charged Mayers with one count of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon and one count of tampering with evidence, according to a copy of the arrest warrant obtained by Inside Digital Edition. The second charge stems from Mayer's decision to toss her clothing out of the car window while making her way home after the robbery, according to the complaint. She faces up to 15 years in prison, which is very unfortunate. Obviously, this is a woman down on her luck and was like, "Hey, I should do crime. That's gonna get me out of this situation. Do a crime to fix a crime." And no, now you're gonna go to jail for a very long time potentially. And the people who supplied you with that money, they're not getting their money back. Not to mention, this to me is like the saddest thing too. In the end, Mayers walked away with $500 from her bank heist, according to the police. I always hate when I hear a story or cover a story where the bank robber is going through literally all of this fucking hassle. And yes, and the important thing to always remember too, that you're endangering other people's lives or putting people through undue trauma, robbing them like this. It's not okay. It's not right. But to do it and get away with such a low amount of money, it's like, oh, honey, what's $500 gonna do? That's a drop in your fucking bucket here. So it's very unfortunate. I think she is in custody at the Butler County Jail and will likely stay there unless she can post $100,000 bail. For your average citizen with no help, no resources, that's not easy to do. Let's see here. But I'm trying to think. I think they do have it here. I probably skipped it. But yeah, essentially, she had just gotten. Here we go. Sergeant Brandon McCroskey of the FTPD said after the arrest that mayors had recently been scammed by an individual claiming to need money for U.S. Customs, which is, I guess, a scam of a certain kind of variety, classic variety. I was talking to a friend and they showed me a picture of this thing and I was like, oh yeah, like someone's trying to pig butcher you, which is, once again, another thing we've talked about. It is a shame that these online scams, either via phone, or via text message or whatever, they're just so prolific. You never know. I mean, hell, you can even get got by, a goddamn Instagram account. You just really got to be careful. You got to keep your head on a swivel out here. And I just think it's one of those things. It's the saddest thing that these elderly people, they're just very susceptible to it. So, like I said, this one did happen in my backyard. This was in my somewhat neighborhood, if you will. So yeah, that's, I couldn't help myself. Of course I had to talk about it. But yeah, that about wraps us up for the day, for the week. So yeah, I mean, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye bye. Mwah.